Hello, welcome to Game 11 of the match between Lasker and Steinitz. We're going to again show a game from the beginning, and the reason for that is it demonstrates the arc of this match. There was a saying that Lasker found one of Steinitz's weaknesses was his endgame play, his queenless middle game play. So basically, an endgame, but there's still a lot of pieces on the board, but no queens. And as you saw the last two games, Lasker grind him down in endgames. This time he goes right into it again. So just check this out. And you're going to see a lot of this in this match. Knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, bishop e7, e3, castles. And the opening is just a normal kind of Queen's Gambit type thing. But here we go. Bishop takes, queen takes d1, king takes d1, knight c6, a3, bishop takes c5. So already we have this queenless middle game. The position looks relatively symmetrical. However, white does have some initiative because we go b4, king e2, and we have a little more space with the move like b4. But overall, black has decent chances to defend. The problem though, this bishop's hard to develop, whereas white's isn't. White's comfortably goes to b2. Black's on d7, it's kind of in the way of the rooks, kind of clunky, not aiming at anything. Meanwhile, it's very hard to get it to b7. So white has already achieved a little something here. Bishop to d7 is played, and now white is anticipating black will put a rook on the c-file, so preemptively moves his bishop out of the way. Bishop to b2. a5 was played here. And now black just plays b5. Knight e7. And now plays another normal, aggressive move. What would that be? Knight to e5. And the thing is, if he doesn't move the bishop away, white will get to take the two-bishop advantage, which could be useful in an open position like this. So black played bishop e8, but look at this rook. And you can see how just the smallest edge in this endgame, Lasker is taking real good advantage of it. a4 was played to bolster this one. Bishop to c7. He didn't want to lose his knight, so he moved it to c4 with ideas of b6 at some point. Bishop d7. And now I really like Lasker's next move. It won't seem very impressive, because when I was analyzing this game, I thought about moves like b6. I thought about moves like bishop a3. Lasker's not interested in these moves right now. b6 could create some weaknesses. The b6 pawn could become a target. The a4 pawn could become a target. The bishop's already pretty good on b2, and if bishop a3, rook e8 will happen, and we have to ask ourselves, how much have we gained? It's not super clear. White just played rook ac1. That's it. Wasn't worried about trying to win the game right away, but just realized that he still has some nice initiative in this position, just by playing natural, normal, developing moves. That's how easy chess can be sometimes. Sometimes the complicated moves are not necessary. After knight on e to d5, knight takes, white played another good move, knight to e5. And his idea is if the bishop takes, he gets the two bishops. And that's actually what happened. And if bishop e8, again, this rook is looking ridiculous. And then we can go knight to d3. And what is white threatening here? If you said bishop a3 winning the rook, you would be correct. And now if the bishop tries to come back to free the rook, now knight c5, attacking two things. So Steinitz is putting big problems to Lasker, and eventually, Lasker is putting big problems to Steinitz. Eventually it convinces him to take this knight. White recaptures. f6. And now what move would you play for white here? So, a lot of moves are good. No matter what you do, white is going to be better in this position. But his move is very nice. e4. A very strong move. If the knight moves away, simply something like bishop to c7. And this should remind people of a game, between Karpov and Unzucker. However, in this case, we're just attacking a pawn. We're blocking the file, attacking a pawn. Rook to d1 might come. White's position is overwhelming. So he really felt like he had no choice but to take this bishop. White took the knight, and now the material is even. However, we're threatening pawn takes pawn. And if black takes, we take, and we take on b7. So what can black do? He played king to f7, and white just played a simple move. Rook h to d1, just building the pressure. King e7 was played, and now, okay, maybe black can take at this point, so he played d6, and we have this beautiful passed pawn on d6. King f6, and white just played king e3. Black's position is pretty miserable here because of this pawn on d6, because of these weak pawns on the e file. White is just happy. Black took, and he tried to just trade everything off, but it doesn't work very well. Just take a look. Rook takes, bishop to c2. And he goes king f7. Now, whether that's necessary or not, I'm sorry, king f7, he's giving up the h-pawn. He could have tried to defend it because it looks like white can't take. Actually, though, he did. I'm not sure that he has to take, but it works. Because after g6 trapping the bishop, king e4, king g7, king d6, sorry, king takes e5. I always say the wrong square. King f6, followed by king e7, followed by d7, with it just over a winning endgame. Because we're going to take the b pawn after everything, and then queen the b pawn. So Lasker just cold-bloodedly took that h pawn off. Black played b6, and now, like a jerk, he still didn't move it. He really went king e4? Wow, that's pretty brave. The idea is if he tries to take this pawn on g2, simply bishop g6. And if king takes d7 wins. And if king f8, king takes e6 is pretty winning. So after king e4, king f6, he played g4, trying to distract the king from the e pawn. Black played g5, and he just went king f3. The position's totally winning. I'm just going to go through the rest of the moves. Bishop e4, coming to c6. And now he played h4, which is not really necessary, but if black takes, I guess g5 is just too strong. Or maybe bishop check, and then g5, and at some point, we're going to push the pawn up and then go d6. So, like, let's say this, there's almost no way to stop this pawn. After h4, black played king to d7. But h5 is simply winning, because now if king takes pawn, there's no way to stop the queen. He played king e8. Sorry, he played king e8 here. And white played king e3, which doesn't really seem necessary, but black resigned. The position is completely hopeless. These two passed pawns are unstoppable. So another beautiful game from Lasker. These last three games were all queenless middle games in which Lasker completely outplayed his opponent. And now he jumps out to a 5-point lead. And the result of the match is not really in doubt. But when you see these three games, you start to see the first really technically strong player. This game and 2 games ago especially. I really loved his technique. You just didn't see that before Lasker. Alright, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.